Okay, here is the first level of inventory, the non-expanded. So this is the basic inventory in section 1 on the sheet, on the spreadsheet. And hopefully this camera is not shaky. I have it on the stabilization mode. Basically, I wanted to show you what that inventory looks like. Now, I didn't open the boxes. Of course, this could be arranged to look like it's twice as much as it really is, of course. So everything's in sealed 12-quart case boxes. We've got of course, one of my top sellers, so I would think it would be for anybody, the V-Twin 2050. And here, I sell, the ratio is probably 1 quart of the 1040 for every 50 quarts of the 2050. It's really that big of a ratio here. But when I used to live in Texas, it was the other way around. We had tons of Hondas and such, so the other one was the one that I sold. So you can pretty much weigh that out, how it works. Of course, you may live next door to somebody who sells more metric just because you are in circles where there's more V-twin, air-cooled bikes or Harleys and that type of thing. So that I just say get 50-50 and then judge from there, because you're gonna sell them either way. The best seller of Amsoil, of course, the Signature Series 530. Of course, if you're new at Amsoil, start with a case and go from there. So that's the minimum. You do want to have 12 quarts. And then right here we've got the second most popular one, the 5W20 Signature Series. All right. Case of ATF, that's the main one still, even though the new one supersedes it. This still, I think, 3 out of 4 sales, it's usually this one here. Of course, diesel trucks are enthusiasts just as much as everybody else, and when it comes to Amsoil, it's becoming a key market. So what I did was I put these on the list according to cost. So I wanted to have the more cost-effective and easy to sell products. So we got the heavy duty. This one can pretty much fit everything because it's a 540, so it fits where 1540 is needed. But you do have the customers that want to use a 1540 no matter what. And then for the Signature Series, the 25,000 mile or 60,000 over the road, this will suffice for your top customers that are already familiar with Amsoil. And the guy that needs 542, I mean, if you need to and you don't have it, you can convince them that this is the same and it's directly replaceable. So at least that gives you the chance to sell to the 1540 customer without having to expand your inventory. I got all the main filters here, and when I go over the inventory list, we'll cover which are which, but that is a good starting inventory. I wouldn't start with less than this. See, the 5051 are probably the best sellers. The 17, the 11 used to be, but it's catching up again. Some newer cars are using that as well. This is the 3 is a GM one that's geared to the future. It's picking up because a lot of newer cars are using, it's a cartridge type filter. A lot of your Japanese cars, especially the Subarus, exclusively use these two. All your front wheel drive Buick, Cadillacs, Pontiacs, everything. This is, you got to have that one in stock. Again, a lot of the imports use this one. Dodges and Chryslers and Jeeps over the past use this, and now some newer cars are starting to use this one again. This and the 64, the 34, the 64, and I didn't put the other one on here, and the 50 fit a lot of pickup Suburbans, GMC, so these 3 are important to have. The Duramax filter, I go through a case every 2 weeks. The Cummins filter, the EAO80, about the same thing. I go through a case often. The primary non-oil products that you want to have, the PI, plenty of the flush. I could sell this to every customer if I wanted to. I got 4 diesel fuel additives. Really, every customer should walk away with one of these. But you got to have a starting inventory. Depends on the type. You may not get diesel customers at first, but you should start with 4. This is an easy sell to everybody. It's kind of like the staple Amsoil product, the MP spray. I sold a couple of these today. It's just It's the WD-40 of Amsoil, but it doesn't leave a residue, and it pushes water away. All sorts of good things. A great pair 3, so I said have 6 for that starting inventory. And with the free shipping, maybe after just a couple customers, you can get another shipment of this easily. This is also a big seller, the GL4. In fact, I get a lot of people that wouldn't buy any other Amsoil product except for this one because the auto parts stores don't carry a GL4 often, or a good one, or it's confusing for them. So usually they need 3 or 4, so I say 8, so at least you can service 2 customers. Of course, we got the XL. You want to have this for, goes without saying really, it's 12,000 miles now. You may run out of this. You want to have a lower cost backup, or they may have a second car, or they may come for the motorcycle oil. You want a backup product to sell to convince them on their other cars. So very important there. 12 quarts of the small engine oil. I can sell this to pretty much every customer, or when they return, they'll either buy this, or again, just like this one, this is another product that I get people that would never buy any other Amsoil product, but they, for whatever reason, they want this for their small engines. And then this one, over time, it's become one of my top sellers, top 10 easy. But if you got a lot of ATV or recreational use activity, or farms, they all have several ATVs, this product is key. So yeah, on a first starting inventory, you might get away with 6 of them, but yeah, this is key, the Formula 4-stroke. So let's step back here again, and then I'm going to do a second video, or I'm going to follow this with the going down the row in the basic inventory to section number 2. Okay, this is going further down the basic level, not the expanded inventory column, but the basic level where I included section 2, and I realized I made a mistake, so I'm going to have to fix the spreadsheet, but I left out what should have been on the primary list. This adds to the total, of course, but 2 quarts at least of the Sabre Pro, and 4 of these 8-ounce bottles. I would suggest that, of course, you could just carry maybe 1 and 2. This is Amsoil's second oldest product, and they're very well known for this. Just do some research and you'll see yourself. If you're new to Amsoil, this is a key product, and there's a lot of people that are only familiar with Amsoil because of this. And it's also created our #1 commercial account, or we're more popular with landscaping companies as far as commercial accounts go than any other group. So it's very strong. So here is what I did. I added the following items. You can see the ATL, which a lot of the newer vehicles in GM, this has several specifications. The automatic transmission fluid, this one here, they used to be called the low viscosity, now it's called the fuel efficient. But this one, General Motors reverted back a few years, so many GM vehicles prior to 2006, when this came out, they're wanting you to upgrade to this. You don't have to, you can stick with this. If you have a lot of wear on the transmission, or it's just an old transmission, maybe has not been serviced often, this one's fine, but you'll see that a lot of customers with older vehicles will request this. Again, I still sell more of this one. And a lot of newer Dodges still use this, by the way, Chrysler products. So because this is a 4-gallon case, I figured, well, you should have a different variety of this because you might get people coming in for just top-off oil, or a drain and a top-off. So we got a 12-quart case here, and then additional 4. So that makes 16, just like the 4-gallon case. So that keeps you in the right frame of inventory there. I also added, even though it's not cheap, the 1540 to fill out the rest of the diesel line as far as the new trucks go. I also added the old standby, the best seller, Amsoil's original diesel oil, because again, about half of the people that are familiar with Amsoil as far as diesel goes, this is still their choice. So on the second level of inventory, you do want to have this. And it's pretty much for any diesel 2006 and earlier. It's got the higher zinc, and classic car owners can use this too. So you'll have that So you don't have to carry the Z-Rod products on this line of inventory or the 1040. So it saves you from having to carry those, because a lot of older cars that use 1030, the customers will choose to use a 40 weight anyway. And then this same story with this too. This is for older diesels. All the Ford 6.0 people want this, and a lot of the older Duramaxes do like the 530. I've actually had some Cummins customers use that too. 7.3s as well. But this is also the high zinc oil for all gasoline automobiles, hard-working older automobiles from, say, 1990 and earlier. This is what I always ran in my AMC Eagle. But it does kind of fit in where the other products won't. So it's optional, but I've always had pretty decent... I sell a lot more of this than I do the European oil. That's why the European oil is not on this initial inventory. So that's why here in the store the European oil is kind of back away from everything else. You know, it's on the end cap of the last shelf here. But anyway, so we got that. The Quick Shot, you could sell that easily to anybody if you understand the product well and explain it, but you should have it. It's the best thing for small engines. And on a weekly basis, I'm getting a testimonial, or every 2 weeks I'm getting a good testimonial. I added the Interceptor because, and you can use this in place of this as a 50-to-1, but all your power sport two-stroke engines now, motorcycles, of course snowmobiles, ATVs, and personal watercraft, this is the one. And a lot of recreational places are selling this for $50 a gallon, so you want to have that. And then I also added the this is primarily my best seller when it comes to the manual transmission fluids, but this is a very close second, if not maybe even a 50-50 tie. So there's no difference in years, because all the older ones all the way back to the 60s and the 50s use this, but a lot of the newer ones are using this. It's a 5W30 type of manual transmission fluid. And all your high-performance racing guys, they like to put that in. Even when ATF is called for in manual transmissions, you'll have a customer that, even though the book says not to use it, or Amsoil says not to use it, they're gonna say, I don't care, I'm gonna use it anyway. So that's that product there. Let me see, is that everything? Oh, and also I added the cetane boost. Again, that's a product that every 3 diesel customers I can move, because this one bottle treats the same amount of fuel that 2 of these treat, and it's free money. We've had some trucks, light duty trucks, get another 100 miles out of a tank just by adding that to the proper cetane level. So it's very cost effective, good product to have on hand. And then last but not least, I was trying to keep that phase 1 of that part 1 inventory price down, so I didn't put these on. But it's definitely right there up with that. That's the motorcycle oil filters, the 3 main ones. So these 3 fit all your Japanese bikes and ATVs, Polaris, some Victory, pretty much everything. I move over 100 of these a year, over 100 of those. Same with the Harley filters combined, well over 100. But this is all the Harley Davidson V twins. Pretty much, so I got black and chrome. And what's missing here is the Sportster filter, because I don't sell hardly any of those, so I would put that in the next list. That's the EAOM 135. So if you got a lot of Sportster customers, keep that one, but this is 98% of what my customers need. So there's another look at that level 2 inventory, plus the Sabre Pro added to that, which I'm going to add that to the primary list. Okay, here's stock priority 3 added into the shelving, and that adds another, what is it, $321.30 current pricing to the total. And let's take a look and comment on what we have here. So I added, the first thing was 6 of the long life gear lube. That gives you more 75W90 at a lower cost on your budget. Plus, not everybody needs a severe gear, so this kind of gives them a break. And it's also what the big trucks use for top off and that such thing. So I pretty much sell just only slightly less of this. And then once you get a following or you start getting enough customers, add some gallons to this, because that makes your inventory easier and it's more convenience to the customers. So that's just kind of the direction you go with that. I also added a half gallon of the diesel injector clean, so that would be a regular replacement product for a starting inventory at one point, because what I have my customers do is I suggest two things. I say, well, the cost of this is kind of like buying 4 of these, but at the price of 3. And when they hit my discount level, as you saw in the pricing video, this goes down just quite a bit. Or I just tell them, if they bought one of these, I say, don't throw it away. Get yourself a small funnel and refill this, because a lot of trucks, you can't just pour this into the tank anyway. It does have a window here so you can see what the ounces are. So, they work in tandem. Of course, some places are selling a ton of this. This product for me, as I said before, I had people coming in asking for it before we even had it available. And this works as an advertisement for Amsoil. Again, another product that a lot of people buy that don't really buy too many of the Amsoil products, but this brings more people in that are curious and such when they try it out. The opinions of this product are just way above any of our competitors' versions. I haven't used this yet myself, but I don't need to develop my own 15-second commercial on it, because I get enough testimonials from customers to help me do that. So definitely an easy ad. Okay, and let's see what else. Okay, of course, I added the, if you got the 20W50 like we have now, you can use this in all 3 sumps. So you don't have to be stressed to add these two, because it's just kind of like an overlapping product. But a lot of people do require the product that's labeled for the primary and the transmission. And if you have any more questions about that, we can discuss that further. But this is just a lighter version. This is really like a 1040. This is really exactly identical to the 2050, because a 75-110 on a gear lube scale, when you compare it to a 2050 at operating temperature, they're actually the same viscosity. Another one, I have a retail account that buys over 15 cases of this stuff a year. Sometimes it's hard to get a customer to try it. They don't think they need it. But when they do finally try it, they always come back for more, and they tell their friends about it. In fact, I've had them buy it just to give to their friends because they were so impressed with it. Never get it on your hands, though. Read the warning label on that one. Let's see. Oh, I added, to expand the high traffic, high sales oils, I added a case of the 0W20. That's picking up in sales. Of course, like we've discussed many times, the 520 or 020, they're both totally interchangeable, but not everybody's going to believe that. So it's good to have that on hand, and it's starting to pick up in sales here. Most of the 020 I sell is on the Signature, but now that we got the new version of the XL, and that, for the better pricing, it's picked up. Okay, the next thing that I added was the Quick Shot. Remember, it's SEMA Product of the Year. I believe that was 2014 or 2012 or something like that. But it does 3 things. It stabilizes the fuel. It really cleans up, so the motorcycle or even lawnmower, small engine, does what it's supposed to do. And it also treats and solves ethanol problems. When the fuel sits in the tank for over a week, you start to get that separation, and then that intensifies the varnish process and all the things that the alcohol will do and the water will do to the tank and the engine. We've got the Z-Rod. I added that in because it's equally important as anything else. Now, if you go with this in the first place, then you might want to just drop this and save your money, or maybe substitute this for something else. Because often I upgrade it if they have a vintage vehicle or an older vehicle that does have flat tappet cam, then I usually actually personally I sell them this one because of the it says 100% synthetic on it and all that. I really don't know if this one is or not. I think this is more like a Group 3-4 mix, but that doesn't matter so much. It's really made for the guy that has this type of car, a classic or a hot rod. They're not putting more than 5,000 to 7,000 miles on a year, so you really don't need that. But in some cases, I do have these, again, enthusiast customers that really push their vehicles, and they just like this one. So that's just, every dealer has their own quirky nature between these two, or the zinc oils, or how they, direct customers based on what they learn. So that's your call there. But people, this one, actually the thing I should say, this one is in magazines, in publications, and it's mentioned on a lot of those cable TV shows and stuff like that. So again, I do sell a lot of it. Oh yeah, the G1230s, the pour spouts, I kind of subsidize them. I don't always give them away for free. I put 25 cents on them, so if they want to pay 25 cents, that's fine. I try to get something back for them. I just don't think selling for 65 to 80 cents. I don't know. I've seen them at motorcycle shops for that. But you can do whatever you want with them, but it's just good to have. It saves people from buying a funnel, and it fits the gallons and the quarts. Okay. And let's see, did I add anything else here? I'm just looking. Yeah, I think that's it. That solves all that sale. I just reorganized the shelf a little bit so it looks a little bit cleaner. So let me stand back here. And again, that is the levels 1, 2, and 3. The priority level 1, 2, and 3. But it's the basic inventory. Now, if you get the expanded inventory that I listed, it's these exact same products, but in the diesel you'll see some 2.5 gallon containers. I put a couple gallon containers of the main sellers, like the 530. There's no extra products in that list. It's just an expanded version of this. So something to think about. But that's actually, just looking at this, I'm kind of impressed. That's actually an excellent starting supply, priority levels 1, 2, and 3 on the inventory spreadsheet there. So that's actually really cool. A customer walks in and sees something like this. Not only they're going to tell people that you got what they want, but they know that you'll be able to get other things if you don't have it in stock. So if you got any questions, be sure to ask. And if you really want me to, I can break open these boxes and kind of set it up more the way you'd want it. And on that note too, by the way, I would leave them in the boxes at least the first time around, because a lot of customers do want to buy the full case. So if you're lucky enough to do that, then it's just ordering back what you have, maybe ordering at the minimum for the free shipping, because a lot of times the customer will buy more than just a case as well. So yeah, if you do have a stock like this, do be prepared that you might have to place a similar $300, $350 order so you can get the free shipping to make up for this. But of course, you'll know what your local demand is and if that is reasonable or not. So it just varies with everybody. So okay, well, we'll end this video here, and I sure hope this helps you all. If you got any questions, again, either comment on the bottom of this video, or call me, or we just started that new what do they call it, Telegram chat, which I mentioned in the newsletter. So join that too, because I monitor that several times a day at my desk. So all right, well, I'll stop this here. Thank you. I did forget one thing I wanted to mention. There we go. I'm back again. I wanted to mention one more thing. I forgot. A lot of people might ask, what about these type of shelves? I'd like to get this for my garage. If you got room for something to stand on the floor, sometimes you could get these for free. I'm not kidding, but they're not too expensive, especially if there's a going out of business store in your going out of business sale in your area. At the end, they usually move these out at a fraction of their cost. And as you can see, there's this one here is a two-sided one, so that probably wouldn't work in most garages. But Just look up on Craigslist for gondola shelving and you'll find these. They're extremely strong. Each shelf could take up to 500 pounds. And the way the feet are, I always try to get a shelf that's longer than the rest of the shelves. But there's these feet in here that stand out more, so there's no way this thing is ever going to tip over. It's just not possible. And then if you want to just stack one up against a wall, you just don't put the feet on the other side. So this is just a one-sided one that I use as a end cap. And again, they're very simple to put together. There's little ribs in the middle here that keep it from swaying. There's one at the bottom, one in the middle, and one in the top. So they're extremely sturdy. But to put that shelf together, these were some of the products that were occupying that space. So I have this one on the wall as a backup supply area. And you can see there's an awful lot of weight on this shelf. And it's not as full as I usually have it. This thing is usually completely full, and I rip open these motorcycle oils and I fill the edges full of all of them. But yeah, it's right up against the wall. It's not screwed into the wall, but you could if you wanted to. So that's what you look for there. Gondola shelving. Oh, here's a neat one. This one's on wheels. This one came from the Kmart going out of business, and it's actually on wheels, and they use this one for car batteries. When they had sales, they'd pull this one out. It's even got a handle on here, but they use this one to move car batteries around the store. So it had a Sears Die Hard backdrop on it or something like that. And then these were really cheap. They're pretty much just giving them away. These are ones that they put clothing items on, but I bought this because I might want to sell motorcycle helmets and stuff. This would be perfect to put in the middle of the floor for a later plan. So these are, again, just cheap stuff. Gondola shelving.